Well, good morning. How are you guys doing? I myself am doing quite all right. It's been about a week since I posted anything, and there is a reason. I've been having some technical issues, mainly consisting of I have recorded and have footage for my food channel, but for some reason I can't figure out how to get that footage onto my computer because I have to record with with my iPhone, and those of you who don't know, when you record on your iPhone and you try and transfer it over to your computer, it's saved as an MVIF file, which cannot be opened by Windows stuff. So I've got a couple more ideas that I want to try, but it's been a little bit of a headache and a little bit of a process to try and get this figured out. Movie time. I was talking about movies. Okay, enough talking about problems. Oh, I'm gonna do a little bit of shameless self-promotion. I do have two other channels. Speaking of the food channel, I do have two other channels. Food channel, which I have yet to post on for like 3 months now, and a Livestream channel where I upload my live streams. Last week I live streamed playing Helldivers with one of my buddies, and I think at some point this week I plan on doing another live stream. It really depends on people's schedules and stuff like that. So, without further ado, and without continuing my rambling, let's hop right into this. Today, we're going to be looking at Sleepy Hollow, which, as usual, first half of this video is not going to be spoilery. Second half is when I'm going to get into the spoilers and stuff that I liked about spoiler side of things. Sleepy Hollow is a movie that came out in 1999, which I'm sure none of you could have guessed this is actually before I was born. And I have spent the better part of my life watching this. It was like a family tradition type thing where me and my aunt, we would watch a lot of Tim Burton films, and this is one of the movies that we would watch growing up. And I have a very soft spot for this movie in my heart of hearts, and I love a lot of Tim Burton films. So if you haven't seen this movie, we'll talk about why you should go see this movie from both a subjective and objective point of view. My subjective point of view is the fact that I've spent my entire life basically watching this. And since this is the first week of the spooky month, I figured why not cover one of my favorites. So Sleepy Hollow loosely follows the story of the Headless Horseman, which was a book written by Washington Irving. It's actually called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow is the name of the story. And it's set in 1799, just a few years after the United States became the United States. Fun fact for those of you who don't know, 1776 was just the year that we declared independence, not the actual year of our coronation, if you will. It follows the story of the legend of Sleepy Hollow relatively similar, I guess you could say. Specifically, it has Ichabod Crane as the main character, and there's a little bit of witchcraft and shenanigans and, well, a headless horseman. So, if you have any inkling of an interest in any modern-ish rendition of a classic story, this is a good example of that. There's many parts of this movie that are very, very well put together. It is very much a Tim Burton film, so there's a lot of dark edginess to it. Everybody is paler than the color pale. And so it really depends on your opinion of Tim Burton as to your true opinions on what this movie would be. I personally really like some of Tim Burton's films, not all of them, most of them. And so from a subjective point of view, this is a really, really good movie and definitely worth watching at least once in your life. It is well written. It is well acted. It is like, there are several parts where if anybody hadn't taken it nearly as seriously as they had, it would have just been funny. But because it was played so seriously, it came off more disturbing than anything else, which is really interesting. And I really like that about this movie, is there's so many different moments where literally, if the tone was just slightly different, it would come off absolutely hilariously. But it's played as disturbing. And it does a really good job at selling that disturbing side of everything. And there's just so many parts of this movie that there's so many like interconnecting things and like lines that you wouldn't know that were connected until the end when the big reveal happens, and few twists and turns, and you learn about Ichabod Crane, and it's just a very well written story. And there's a lot to it to appreciate. There's a lot to it to enjoy. So, as somebody subjectively, I would say it's worth the watch. It is 110% worth the watch. It is a very well crafted story. Now we're going to look at it as like an objective point of view. Objectively, it is very Tim Burton. It has a lot of dark, shadowy parts. Everybody's super pale. And so, quite literally, if you do not like Tim Burton or his films, you're not going to enjoy this movie. Just a hard stop. It's not something you're going to enjoy. If you do like Tim Burton or you do like his movies, then this will be up there for you, right? But honestly, if you do like Tim Burton or his style of movies, you've definitely seen this movie at this point. I'm not really trying to sell it to you guys. I'm more trying to sell it towards the people who haven't seen it. And I have to say, if you haven't seen this movie, even if you don't like Tim Burton, and objectively you probably wouldn't enjoy most of it, the story of the Headless Horseman and Ichabod Crane is really, really compelling. And this is probably one of my favorite versions of this story. It's slightly less comedic than like the animated version, and it's slightly less serious than the more serious versions of this movie or of this story. And so it's a nice balance of both comedy and unease. I think Tim Burton does a really good job of balancing that aspect between the sheer uncomfortableness and there are many parts of this movie that are very disturbing. I will forewarn you, if you haven't seen this movie, there are several scenes that are just kind of difficult to watch, which is one of the reasons why I think it's really, really good. At this point, I am going to move into the spoilers, so if you don't want to watch the spoilers, this is where you can leave, this is where you can go watch the movie and come back, and then we can discuss. But this is your spoiler warning, okay? Spoiler warning. I absolutely love the fact that Ichabod Crane is such a scientific-headed person, and it's just like magic. Magic's the reason why there's a headless horseman running around. It's because of black magic, I tell you what. And the fact that he was sent to Sleepy Hollow to prove that science is real and magic isn't, even though like for all of those other instances when he was like trying to bring up science, it was real, but like it was funny. It's one of the funnier parts of the movie that I find a lot of dark humor with, is just he failed the task successfully. It was kind of it's kind of how it was, and it's really funny. His just the twist with the preacher and the wife of the like lead farmer guy, that was really interesting. Like I said, I grew up watching this movie. I've been watching this movie for a very long time, probably since before I was born. There are many parts of this movie that I think shine through. The twist about who got the Headless Horseman killed is also the one that is like controlling him and giving him the instructions to kill all those people. The Headless Horseman's character himself is really interesting and very compelling. The fact that he was a mercenary during the Revolutionary War. And what's so interesting about it is the fact that the Revolutionary War took place only like 20 years ago previous to this. So like the first few times that I watched this movie, and honestly until the most recent time that I watched it last week, I always thought like the Headless Horseman has been dead for a very long time for some reason. But no, he's only been dead for like a few years, which is crazy to think about. The twist about Ichabod Crane's dad being the preacher that got his mom killed in a Iron Maiden, that was crazy. And like the scars on his hand, I kind of wish there was more to that, more to the scars on his hand, more to the whole story. It wasn't very well explained, I guess. There was a lot of guesswork involved into that whole thing. It was kind of like a slideshow of information, and I can appreciate that they were trying to go for a show not tell, but adding a few sentences of dialogue would probably at least help me understand. I know I'm very wishy-washy when it comes to the show not tell thing, but sometimes it's needed and other times it's unnecessary. And for this instance, I think it was needed. It's got a 70% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's got a 7.3 on IMDb. I personally would give it a 7.5. It's really good at being good. I wouldn't say it's fan-freaking-tastic. And it's certainly not going to be the best movie that I'm covering this month, but it is one of my favorite childhood movies growing up, watching this during Halloween, getting into the Halloween mood. So next week, I'm going to be covering a different movie, a different style of movie, a movie that I've only ever covered once before on this channel, or the style at least. And so I hope you guys are looking forward to that. I personally I'm really excited to go into because it's covering a franchise that I hold near and dear to my heart, and I don't know if I'll do all 7 of those specific movies, but I will cover the first one for sure, and if there's a request for more, then I'll do more. Every week this month is going to have a spooky theme to it. I meant to release this video last week, but like I said, there was a lot of technical issues. So this movie is coming out on this week. Next week is going to be a scary movie. Week after that, I'm going to go see if there's anything in theaters that is worth watching. And then the week after that is another scary movie probably. Stay tuned for that. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe. There's so many of you guys are not subscribed, and I'd appreciate it. You just click that red button down below. And press the like button if you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments what you think of Sleepy Hollow, and let me know what you think of today's video. I know I was a little lost in the fog, kind of wasn't very like structured as typical, but trying to get this out to you guys by Friday, and it's just been a little bit of a process, technical issues and stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.